Peace of the Lord be with you. This is the Son of the Most Sorrowful YouTube channel. And we'll talk about why I don't date. So, for me in particular, I've been in relationships in the past. Some good, some bad. You know what I mean? We all go through that. But I think when I was at the point, because I mentioned this in a previous video, I was in the music industry and I was really focused on trying to, like, I guess make it as, because that's the goal. You're trying to make it. You're trying to have your music pay for your means to live, right? Your expenses in life and all that. That's the dream anyways. So it got to a point in closer to my mid 20s. At the time I was like 24 going into 25. The relationship that I was in at that time was causing me to be distracted, and I have always been that kind of a guy. I think to this day, I just get so distracted when I'm in a relationship, and I move away from, I have been or allowed myself to be in a relationship when I in the faith, when I was converted and Catholic. And yeah, man, it's just, it hasn't changed for me. I don't know what it is, but I become very distracted and invested in my relationship, to the point where I'm at the expense of my spiritual life, at the expense of my mortification, at the expense of, you know, things that are important, my purpose. It always comes at the expense of my purpose in some way, shape, or form. And so that's just like being in a relationship. For me, it's hard not to get lost in the sauce in a relationship. So, I mean, dating, it lends itself to be so distracting. You know, to start, it's expensive to date, to be going to the restaurants, to be going and meeting, like, it's you take time, right? And hopefully it's with people that are moderately pleasant, but I mean, in Southern California, I'm not trying to speak ill of women, but man, there's just so much entitlement out there. I feel like it's not different for men. There's a lot of men that feel like they're entitled to a lot more than what they actually deserve. You know what I mean? And this is because I've seen women speak on it online. But man, it's just, yeah, the entitlement of people when you go on a date is unbelievable. You know what I mean? And especially in Southern California, it's very materialistic. People are very shallow out here. There is an overly romanticized idea of like love or what it is to be in a relationship, and my outlook and perspective on that has totally changed. You know what I mean? Being in a relationship is a sacrifice. Being in a marriage, it's a sacrifice most of the time. You're because you're united, and have become one in the context of sacramental marriage, by the grace of God. You have become one with your spouse. So it's a sacrifice, man. You don't just get to do you anymore, right? And so for me, I have found it to be the case most of the time that I'm just unequally yoked, right? With the person that I'm with, or with there is an imbalance, right? And for me, I have to admit to my own stuff and say that, like, dude, it's hard. It has been hard for me in the past, from lack of discipline, because again, I lived a life of many vices for such a long time. So for me to remain in my masculine frame because of that, it has been a challenge, right? That's why I speak against vices and against distractions in this channel a lot, because it makes remaining in your masculine frame a lot harder, right? As it is having a woman in your life, it softens you, man. It softens you. It's just the fact of the matter is, it makes you more more tender and loving. I think that's just a natural thing that happens, but you have to, in a way, fight it to remain in your masculine frame. And I think because I had a tendency to just give into it, to the lovey-doveyness, I guess, or the tenderness of being in a relationship, the romantic aspect of it, whatever you want to call it, the emotional aspect of a relationship, I think, is the best way to put it. I'm just not really, I don't like dating for that reason. I don't like the idea of being distracted by the charms of a woman. I don't like that. To me, it makes me feel weak. It makes me feel like I'm subject to manipulation or influence. You know what I mean? I don't really like that. So I feel like, yeah, that makes me very ruthless. It's kind of funny because I was getting to know somebody recently, and I feel like this probably was. I mean, I can't even say I held my masculine frame for, I think, more time, but I think gradually, inevitably, I just started to slip again, and I started to uh, be more affectionate, to be more like warm, to the point where it was starting to get a little disorder, to where like it's kind of interesting how women turn away from you or disengage emotionally when you start to behave that way, uh, especially women that are more attractive. It's just how it is. They're used to being complimented and men being agreeable with them all the time. It's just what they're used to. So what they want of the man that they're in a relationship with is they want to feel like he's in control of himself, like he's not subject to her feminine charms, to her beauty. They that makes them feel safe and grounded. Okay, uh, that gives them a sense that the man is really strong and in control of himself, in control of his carnal desires, of his emotions more than anything. It's really important for a man to remain in his masculine frame, that he has to be in control of his emotions, you know, which for me, I'm just now getting to a place where I'm more in control of my emotions than I was even at that time. But had to depart from that person because, yeah, things were just not well ordered within myself. I think I still have a lot of work to do before I can be with somebody in that way. But yeah, for me, still to find that that was probably going on a month ago, how to end that whole thing. Um, that I still get very distracted. It's very disappointing to me that I still get very distracted. You know what I mean? And it's funny because my dad laughs that he's like, oh, well, yeah, you're human. You know what I mean? Like, you have a heart that beats, right? So that's tough, man. When I think about it too much, I get discouraged because I wonder if I'm like even cut out for marriage, if I'm just so distracted by the feminine person in my life. It has created, you know, I feel peaceful when I'm not with women. Or I think I should say, God, I said that wrong. More at peace when I'm in my lane, on my purpose. You know what I mean? I'm at peace when I'm not constant. I don't feel the need to be looking for validation from a woman, you know, to be in the company of a woman. It's nice, you know what I mean? To hear a woman's laugh and all that. Of course it is. I think you'd be dead if it wasn't, or if you deny that is true as a man. Cause life is hard, man. Life is hard, and so like to hear a woman laugh, or you know, that's funny because there's this other YouTuber that he's like, oh, bro, a woman laugh, ah, it cures depression, man. So It's interesting, man. You know, women are just they're amazing. I gotta say, but I really get upset with myself when I become so distracted and I drop the ball and I lose my sense of purpose. So at this time, I'm very determined to live more monastically than not, to live and strive towards a contemplative lifestyle. So if marriage is in the cards for me, I don't know. I think that it is the nature of my trials and tribulations. It does lead me to believe that marriage is what I'm going towards. But at this point, I think my attitude towards the spiritual life is that of like somebody who is chaste and consecrated and set aside strictly for the adoration of the Lord. You know what I mean? To adore the Lord and to serve Him and to not want anything aside from that. You know, that's kind of funny because I say that with like a sad look on my face. It causes your senses to suffer, man. It causes your senses to suffer, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it, man. It's all worth it. There is a lot more peace. When I was talking to this person, this woman, there were times where I was not totally at peace. I was left wondering, like, well, what's going on? Or like, you know, women are as pleasant as they are, um, because they're emotional creatures that don't act rationally a lot of the time. I shouldn't say that they don't act rationally a lot of the time. I should say better that it's more they don't make logical decisions. It's they most of the time they make emotional based decisions. It's just the way that they're created. So it should not be the expectation uh like of any young man for women to act logically. You know what I mean? But for that reason, because I think in my imperfections and shortcomings have that expectation to some degree for women to behave in a logical way most of the time, there is that room for disappointment when they don't. You know what I mean? And that's like on me. That's 100% on me. And I gotta work to change that and then to make my peace with it. And women are emotional creatures, and large and by, they're going to behave subject to their emotions and according to their emotions. They're going to feel something one moment, and then that's going to change 5 minutes later. You know what I mean? And as a man, we have to just be able to have our frame, and whether they move from this side of the spectrum to that side of the spectrum, you know what I mean? We should just be centered and be okay, and just be like, okay, she's going to chill out in a bit. Or okay, in you know, in an hour or two, she might not feel that same way. And yeah, but I think I'm getting into another tangent. But yeah, I guess I hope that provides like some insight as to like why I personally don't date, why I like my guy friends that I talk to, my brothers in Christ, I advise for them not to date, you know, and to just take that season where they hone themselves and build virtue, so that and spend those seasons of loneliness, embrace the male loneliness. So that's one of like the videos that I made. I think I made that video like a couple days ago. You gotta embrace the male loneliness, man. That's where you become strong. That's where you become fortified in your mind, body, and spirit. If you cooperate with the process, if you willingly put yourself in the fire, okay. But yeah, that's why I don't date. Hopefully, God's will be done in that aspect of my life. I'm not really in a hurry. Feels good to say that. Gotta say that I'm just posted where I'm at. I got the Lord, I got Our Lady. So it's nice to feel a healthy detachment from that desire. You know what I mean? At this period in time. That is something that I am peaceful with. This has been the Son of the Most Sorrowful YouTube channel. I pray in Jesus' mighty name that the peace of the Lord always be with you by the intercession of Our Lady of Sorrows. And I'll see you at the next one. God bless.